My BIL Boasted. I'm flipping the family beach house. Quick money. He never knew I'd secretly purchased it, and the contractor standing outside was livid. Imagine sitting at a family party, listening to your brother-in-law brag about flipping the family beach house for a massive profit. He's got everyone eating out of his hand, planning lavish renovations. But here's the kicker. He never owned that house. Because I did. And the contractor he hired? He was about to text me with a shocking truth that would unravel my brother-in-law's entire twisted scheme right before my eyes. It was my dad's birthday, and the living room was packed. My brother-in-law, Jackson, was holding court, champagne flute in hand, looking like he'd just closed the deal of the century. My stomach clenched because I knew that smirk. He was about to lie again. Big announcement, everyone. Jackson beamed, his forced smile stretching wider. The room hushed. My sister, Sophie, squeezed his arm, beaming like he'd just proposed. I'm flipping the family beach house, he declared. Permits are issued, renovations are almost done. Should turn a good profit by spring. The room erupted. My dad clapped him on the shoulder. My Uncle John, the other John, raised his glass. My cousins swarmed him with questions about square footage, contractor fees, and if he'd kept the original hardwood. I just sat there, sipping my wine, saying nothing. Because what they didn't know, and what Jackson clearly didn't know I knew, was that I had bought that beach property 5 years ago. There was no grand family announcement, no group text. Just me, a real estate attorney named Luke Marshall, and county records clearly showing my name on the deed. Jackson had never owned it. He was just lying like he always did. The deck renovation was the most costly part, Jackson continued, gesturing wildly with his flute. But I talked the contractor down. Guy wanted 25 grand. I got him to agree to 20. My cousin Emma leaned in. Are the shutters still blue, or did you repaint? Keeping the blue, Jackson stated calmly. Classic coastal charm. Buyers eat that up. I nearly choked on my wine. The shutters were green. They'd been green since 1987. Sophie pinched his arm. He's been working so hard every weekend, every evening. I barely see him. Investment requires sacrifice, my dad replied, a proud glint in his eye. Good man, Jackson. Someone needed to do something with that place. I had been doing something with that place. I'd been quietly renting it out seasonally through a property management business, generating a solid, peaceful income while living my life 3 hours away in the city. The seaside home had been my grandmother's. My siblings, though, they'd refused to deal with her death. Too much upkeep, too many memories, too distant from their suburban lifestyle. I'd offered to buy it from the estate. They'd been relieved. Take it, my brother Aaron had practically begged. One less thing to worry about. So I recruited Luke Marshall, paid the estate fair market value, and handled all the paperwork. The whole thing took 6 weeks. I didn't make a big deal out of it. That's just not how I operate. I simply did it. Apparently, Jackson had sensed an opportunity in my quiet. When do you list it? My uncle asked. March, Jackson said firm. Spring market is killer for beach properties. Thinking we list at 700. See what happens. Everyone assumed he had partners, some legitimate claim. Then my phone vibrated. An SMS from an unfamiliar number. Is this Michael Morrison, the owner of 847 Sibsey Lane? My heart seized. I excused myself and walked into the kitchen, away from the party. Yes. Who's this? James Carter. We need to talk about Jackson Foster. My stomach dropped. What about him? He hired me to remodel your property, claiming he owned it. I've been working for 4 weeks. He owes me $18,000, and he won't return my calls. I stared at the message, reading it twice, then 3 times. Are you at the property now? No, but I can meet you tomorrow morning. I'm in the city. Can you send me photos of the work and any contracts you signed? 3 dots appeared, vanished, reappeared. He said this was his family's beach house, that he was handling the flip personally. Are you telling me he doesn't own it? He's never owned it, I typed back. Send me everything you have. The images started flooding in. Half the new deck rails installed. Bathroom fixtures torn out, sitting in boxes. Walls covered in fresh drywall compound. I had authorized none of this. Then came the contract. Jackson's signature, my property address, and fake permit numbers from the county. I knew they were fabricated because I had reviewed the county record system just 2 months prior for my yearly property tax review. No permits submitted. No improvements approved. Jackson had used phony papers to engage a contractor to work on a residence he didn't own. And now the contractor was 4 weeks into labor and supplies, with no way to get paid. I returned to the living room, where Jackson was still holding court, still lying, still convincing my family he was a real estate guru. "Mr. Carter," I cautiously typed. "I'm the legal owner. I have the deed and county records to prove it. Jackson has defrauded you. I think you should contact the police." "Are you serious?" "Completely. I'm sorry this happened to you, but I never authorized any renovations, never hired you, and never agreed to pay for anything. This is fraud." "Jesus. Do you have his address?" "I have the address where I'm supposed to send the invoice," James replied. "Someplace in Riverside County. That was where Jackson and Sophie lived, 20 minutes from here." "Send me copies of everything," I wrote. "Every text, every email, every photo. I'll forward it to my attorney, and we'll figure out next steps." He said the permits were approved. He showed me paperwork. It was forged. There was a long pause. "I've been in construction for 12 years. I've seen some shady stuff, but this? Yeah. What do you want me to do?" I considered that. Jackson, in the next room, enjoying my father's champagne, soaking up congratulations for a project that didn't exist. My sister, completely oblivious, married to a con artist. My family, who always preferred Jackson because he was charming, and I was, well, quiet. "For now, document everything," I typed. "I'll call you tomorrow. We'll figure this out." "Okay." I walked back into the living room. Jackson was discussing his remodeling timeline with my cousin Marcus, who worked in commercial real estate and should have known better than to believe him at face value. "The bathroom is key," Jackson pontificated. "Buyers will pay a premium for a good bathroom. I'm going luxury fixtures, heated floors, the works." "Heated floors? In a beach house used 3 months a year?" My father caught my eye. "Michael, come tell Jackson about that investment property you looked at in Portland." I'd mentioned it at another family dinner 7 months earlier. I was astonished he remembered. I stepped up, stood next to Jackson, and looked him in the eyes. "How's the renovation going?" I inquired politely. "Great," he said without hesitation. "Contractor's solid. Works ahead of schedule. That's unusual." "I know, right? Got lucky with this guy." "What's his name?" Jackson blinked. "Who? Your contractor?" "Oh, James. James Carter. And he's been taking responsibility?" "Yeah, why?" I grinned. "Just curious. Contractors can be tough to manage." "Not this one. Professional operation." I nodded slowly. "Good to hear." My sister joined us, slipping her arm into Jackson's. "He's being modest. He's been so stressed about the permits and the timeline and making sure everything's up to code." "The permits came through, though?" I asked. "Finally," Jackson declared. "County took forever, but yeah, everyone approved." "That's great. Which permits did you file?" He stared at me like I was speaking a different language. The standard ones. Building permit, electrical, plumbing, no structural." "The deck's not structural, it's a replacement." "County usually requires structural review for deck replacements," I explained casually. "Weight load calculations." Jackson's smile tightened. "My contractor handled it." "Huh. Good contractor." Sophie looked at me curiously. "Why all the questions?" "I'm just interested," I said. "Real estate stuff. You know me." She didn't recognize me. Neither of them did. They knew Quiet Michael, the software developer who rarely spoke at family gatherings. They had no idea about the rental income I'd been quietly producing for the past 5 years. They had no idea I'd been studying property law in my free time after a few tenant issues. They had no idea I had a real estate attorney on retainer. They had absolutely no idea I was watching my brother-in-law commit fraud in real time. I excused myself and headed to the restroom. I locked the door and called Luke Marshall. He answered on the second ring. "Michael, it's Saturday night. This better be good. My brother-in-law is renovating my beach house without my permission, using forged permits." Silence. "Say that again." I detailed everything. Jackson's big announcement, the contractor's texts, the images, the bogus permit numbers. Luke whistled softly. "That's fraud. Like, actual criminal fraud." "I know. Have you contacted the police?" "Not yet. I wanted to talk to you first. You need to file a report tonight. And you need to document everything. Every conversation. Every text. Every photo that contractor sends you." "What about my family?" "What about them? They think he's legitimate. My sister's married to him, Michael." Luke's voice became serious. "He's committing fraud using your property. He's lying to a contractor. He's forging government documents. This isn't a family dispute. This is a crime. I know. So, what do you want to do? I glanced at myself in the mirror. Michael, be quiet. The Michael who was overlooked. The Michael who was just a quiet person. I want to let him hang himself, I said. Luke was quiet for a minute. He's announced the flip publicly to your entire family. He's committed. He can't back out now without admitting he lied. Okay, I'm going to capture everything. Let him continue talking, and when the time is right, I'm going to show everyone exactly who he is. That is hazardous. What if he does more damage to your property? The contractor is legitimate. He isn't going to ruin the place. And honestly, the job probably needed to be done anyway. I'll just make sure Jackson pays for it through legal means. Through legal means? Luke groaned. You are my client, therefore I will assist you. But Michael, be careful. Family stuff gets ugly, and this guy sounds desperate enough to pull off something this large. I'll be careful. I hung up and returned to the party, where Jackson was now showing someone images from his phone. Before shots, he explained. The place was a wreck. Hasn't been updated since the 90s. In 2021, I planned to remodel the kitchen with new appliances, worktops, and backsplash. The photographs he showed were from an internet real estate ad for an entirely different house. This wasn't just fraud. This was complex, intentional deception. I stayed for another hour. My father patted Jackson on the back, saying things like, "Always knew you had it in you. And that's how you build wealth." My sister glowed with reflected joy as I watched Jackson accumulate accolades like cash. Nobody asked me how I was doing, about my job, my life, or if I had visited the beach home lately. I was invisible, as usual, which turned out to be exactly where I needed to be. 2 days later, I met James Carter in a coffee shop in Riverside County. He was in his mid-40s, with aged hands and sad eyes, and he had a 6-inch thick file folder. I've been doing this for 12 years, he explained, spreading paperwork across the table. I've dealt with homeowners, investors, flippers. I thought I'd seen everything. Tell me how he approached you. The job board advertising stated that he had inherited a family beach house and wanted to remodel it for sale. He showed me images, gave me the address, and said he had the permits ready to go. I quoted him $25,000 for the deck, bathroom, and interior painting. He settled for $18,000. We shook hands. Did he show you proof of ownership? He said his name wasn't on the deed, yet since it was still in his grandmother's estate. Said the family was handling the paperwork. My grandmother. He'd exploited my grandmother's death to justify his deception. When did you start working? 4 weeks ago. I've put in around 40 hours of effort, plus supplies. I'm in for $18,000 already. I took out my phone and showed him my act. This is the county record with my name and property. I purchased it from my grandmother's estate 5 years ago. James gazed at the document. He said his grandmother just passed. She died 6 years ago. Jesus. Have you got the permits he showed you? James pulled out photocopies. I opened my laptop and logged into the county permit system, checking each number. These are bogus, I continued, and the permit numbers do not exist in the county database. How did he forge them? Probably got a template online, modified the numbers, and printed them. Most contractors don't check every permit number unless they have a reason to be suspicious. I verified the address, James responded defensively, and I confirmed the property exists. I didn't think to check the permit numbers, since why would someone go to such pains to falsify them? Because he's desperate, I said. Or compulsive. Or both. I dug out further county documents and property tax payments, all current and paid by me. I need to file a police report, James stated. You should. I'm going to file one too. After I speak with my sister. James stared at me. She doesn't know? I don't think so. She appears genuinely pleased for him. Are you going to inform her that her spouse is a fraud? I'm going to show her the evidence and let her draw her own conclusions. James slumped back in his chair. You are a better guy than me. I would burn him down right away. Oh, I'm going to burn him down, I claimed. I'm just going to do it thoroughly. That night, I called my sister. Hey, she said cheerfully. What's up? Can we have coffee? Just you and I. Sure. Is everything all right? I just need to talk to you about something. A pause. About Jackson. Yeah, Michael, if this is about the beach house, I know you're probably hurt that he didn't ask your opinion, but it's been sitting there for years. Sophie, please. Just have coffee with me. Another pause. Longer this time. Okay. Tomorrow. Tomorrow. We met in a cafe halfway between her house and the city. She was dressed in athleisure and sunglasses, as if she'd just finished yoga. You look stressed, she commented as she sat down. I am. What's happening? I took out my laptop. I need to show you something. I gave her the deed, county papers, tax payments, 5 years of proof that I own the beach house. She gazed at the screen. I don't comprehend. I purchased it from Grandma's estate 5 years ago. I've been renting it out seasonally. It's been generating revenue. But Jackson stated. Jackson lied. Her face turned pale. No, he said the family was handling the estate transfer. It was complicated. There was no transfer. I purchased it outright in 2019. The estate was closed 7 months later. Everything has been settled for years. So why would he? I showed her the contractor's texts, photographs, and falsified permits. He used bogus papers to pay someone to refurbish a house he didn't own. That contractor is 4 weeks into the project, and Jackson owes him $18,000. Sophie's hands began trembling. This was a mistake. He probably just. Sophie checked the permit numbers. I showed her how to examine them on the county's database. They do not exist. She glanced, and I saw her expression shift as realization sank in. How long did you know? She whispered. Since Dad's birthday party. The contractor phoned me that night. And you didn't notify me. I needed proof first. I wanted to make sure I wasn't mistaken. Are you wrong? No. She rested her head on her hands. Oh my God. I'm sorry. Don't. Do not apologize. You did not do anything wrong. She glanced up, her eyes watering. What are you planning to do? I need to fill out a police report. The contractor has previously spoken to a detective. Sophie, this is fraud. It is a crime. He's my husband. I understand. We have 2 children. I know. She was weeping now. Real tears. How could he do this? I don't know. Was it simply the beach home, or did he lie about other things? I hadn't considered that. I don't know. She took out her phone and looked through stuff. He stated he earned a promotion, and his income was going up 6 months ago, but we never received the increased money. He stated that it was going into investments. What type of investments? He wouldn't offer me any specifics. Said it was complicated. Said I should trust him. Red flag. Big red flag, Sophie. You should speak with a lawyer. Not necessarily for divorce, but to protect yourself and your children financially. I can't believe this is happening. We sat there in quiet while she processed. Other customers came and went. The barista called out names, and life carried on around us while my sister's world fell apart. What will happen next? She finally asked. I'm going to submit a police report tonight. The detective will undoubtedly want to speak with Jackson, and the contractor will likely sue for payment. Can he go to jail? Possibly. Fraud, forgery, stealing via deceit. It depends on how the DA intends to charge it. She wiped her eyes. Our kids. I know. Everyone's going to find out. Yeah. Dad will be devastated. Dad trusted Jackson's lies. That's not on you. She stared at me. Really? Really? Why didn't you speak out at the party when he was lying to everyone? Because I needed to be sure, and because I wanted to give you a chance to hear it from me first. Thank you. You are my sister. She began weeping again. I really apologize for everything. For not inquiring about the house, for not checking with you, for simply presuming. You didn't know. But she should have. They all should have. They should have asked me, the quiet son and neglected sibling, if I had done anything with Grandma's house. They should have inquired who had been maintaining it and paying the taxes. They should have listened, but they didn't, because Jackson was charming and confident, and he knew precisely what to say, and I was only Michael. I submitted the police report that night, and Detective Sophie Hayes of the Property Fraud Section phoned me the next morning. Mr. Morrison, I studied your report and the supporting evidence you supplied. This is very obvious fraud. I'll need to interview Mr. Foster. He doesn't know I reported it yet. That is probably better. Can you come to the station this afternoon? I'd want to get your entire statement recorded. I spent 2 hours in the Riverside County Sheriff's Station going over everything with Detective Hayes, who was in her mid-50s and had been on the police force for 22 years. She was patient and meticulous. Has Mr. Foster tried to contact you directly? She inquired. No, he does not know. I understand. And your sister? I told her 2 days ago. She's trying to process it. Has she confronted him? I do not know. I urged her to see a lawyer first. Detective Hayes made notes. We're going to execute a search warrant at his home. Look for indications of fraudulent paperwork. Communicate with the contractor. Anything that demonstrates intent. When? Perhaps next week. I need to cooperate with the district attorney's office. How about the contractor, James Carter? He is pursuing a separate civil claim, but his evidence supports the criminal case. Forged permits alone are enough to warrant prosecution. I exited the station feeling odd, as if I had started something that I couldn't stop, which is precisely what I had done. 3 days later, my father phoned. Michael, what the heck is happening? What do you mean? Sophie called me weeping. Said something about Jackson, fraud, and the beach home. She was not making sense. I took a breath. Dad, I own the beachfront house. I purchased it from Grandma's estate 5 years ago. Jackson does not own it. He never did. Silence. He hired a contractor to renovate it with forged permits. The contractor is 4 weeks into the project, and Jackson has yet to pay him. I submitted a police report. There is an active inquiry. More silence. Dad, are you telling me Jackson lied at my birthday celebration in front of the entire family? Yes. And did you know? I found out that night. The contractor texted me during the party. And you didn't respond. I wanted to know all the facts first. I wanted to speak to Sophie quietly. I wanted to handle this properly. The proper approach would have been to expose him immediately so that everyone could witness Sophie's humiliation in real time. That would have halted him. She's your daughter, I murmured gently. I protected her as much as I could. Another prolonged stillness. I can't believe this, he eventually said. Neither can I. What happens now? Police are conducting an investigation. The DA determines whether to file charges. The contractor sues. Jackson has to face the consequences. Sophie is speaking with a lawyer about financial protection for herself and the children. Jesus Christ. Yeah. He hung up without saying goodbye. The search warrant was issued on a Tuesday morning, and Detective Hayes phoned me at 9:47 a.m. We carried out the warrant at Mr. Foster's house. We discovered the fake permit templates on his PC. Several drafts, email discussions with the contractor, in which he expressly claimed ownership of the property. Mr. Morrison undoubtedly felt flipping the property would solve his money issues, but he doesn't own it, so it's fraud, not simply bad business. According to his financial records, he's $50,000 in debt on his credit cards. Is he under arrest? Not yet. We're putting together the case for the DA, but it's coming. I sat at my desk, phone glued to my ear, attempting to digest the number. 50,000 in debt. My sister had no idea, since her husband had been lying to her about everything. There's something else, Detective Hayes explained. What? We discovered evidence that he planned to take out a home equity loan against your house. He had loan applications filled up, falsified signatures, the full works. My stomach sank. He was going to take out a loan against a house he didn't own, using forged documentation. Yes, that is felony fraud. There are multiple counts. When are you going to arrest him? DA is currently evaluating the case. Probably by the end of the week. Sophie phoned me that night. They searched my house today. Her voice was flat and dead. I understand. Detective Hayes informed me. I discovered a whole folder on Jackson's PC. Plans, budgets, loan applications, all for your home. I'm sorry. Don't be. You did not do this. He did. She hesitated. Then the detective presented me the credit card statements totaling $50,000. I had no idea. I thought we were okay. I thought we were saving for the children's college. What are you planning to do? I've already filed for legal separation. My lawyer advises I must protect myself and the children from his obligations. That's smart. Smart. She laughed, a raw, bitter sound. I married a con artist and didn't notice for 6 years. How is that smart? You're not responsible for his lies. Everyone thinks I knew. Dad, Mom, Uncle John, they all think I was in on it. Then they're idiots. She laughed again. This time it was genuine. Thanks. Do you need anything? No, I wanted you to know I'm handling it. I'm not going to fall apart. I know you won't. And Michael. Yeah. I'm sorry. For not asking about the house, for not paying attention, for letting Jackson make you invisible. My throat clenched. You didn't. I did. We all did. And I'm sorry. The arrest happened on Friday. Detective Hayes phoned me at 2:13 p.m. Jackson Foster is in custody. Multiple counts of fraud, forgery, attempted theft. DA's office is pretty confident about prosecution. Bail set at $55,000. His lawyers are arguing for reduction. I considered the credit card debt, the falsehoods, and the desperate plot to seize my house. He won't make bail, I said. Probably not. The hearing occurred 3 weeks later. I sat at the rear of the courtroom and watched Jackson enter in an orange jumpsuit. He appeared smaller and deflated. The DA presented the case systematically, citing the fake permits, contractor fraud, attempted home equity fraud, and bank records indicating purpose. Jackson's public lawyer attempted to emphasize financial desperation, mitigating circumstances, and first-time offender status. The judge was not interested. Mr. Foster, you did not simply conduct fraud. You committed intricate, planned fraud that included falsification of government papers, defrauding a contractor, and attempting to take property via false methods. This shows a pattern of deception. Bail was rejected. The trial date was scheduled roughly 3 months out. I exited the courthouse and saw my sister waiting by my car. You came? I said I had to see it. She seemed weary. Is it wrong that I feel relieved? No. The kids asked where Daddy is. I told them he made some bad choices and has to deal with the consequences. That's honest. They're 8 and 6. They don't really understand. We stood in the courthouse parking lot, 2 people attempting to figure out how to go forward. What about the beach house? She inquired. What about it? The contractor. Did he get paid? I settled with him. Agreed to pay for the work, since it needed to be done anyway. He's finishing the deck and bathroom at cost. That's generous. He was a victim too. She nodded. Are you going to sell it? No, I'm going to keep renting it. It's good income. Jackson said you'd been wasting it. That it was just sitting there. Jackson lied about everything. Yeah. She stared at me. I'm going to tell Dad the truth. About how you bought it years ago, about how you've been managing it, about how you handled this whole thing to protect me. You don't have to. Yes, I do. Because you're not invisible, Michael. And I'm done letting our family treat you like you are. The trial was swift. The evidence was overwhelming. Jackson accepted a plea agreement. For years of minimum security, compensation to James Carter, and a permanent restraining order from my property. My father phoned me the night the plea was revealed. I owe you an apology, he stated without explanation. Okay, I believed Jackson because he was loud and confident. I ignored you because you were quiet. That was wrong. Your grandmother would have been proud of you for buying the house, for managing it well, for handling this situation with integrity. Thanks, Dad. I'm proud of you too. I should have said that years ago. I didn't know what to say to that. Anyway, he said hesitantly, your mother and I want to have you over for dinner. Just you. Not a big family thing. Just us. I'd like that. I drove to the beach home 7 months after Jackson was sentenced. James Carter had completed the improvements. Beautiful job, just what the place needed. New deck, new bathroom, freshly painted throughout. I stood on the balcony, watching the sunset turn the water orange and gold, reflecting on all that had transpired. Jackson had interpreted my quiet as weakness. My family had interpreted my silence as absence. They had all been mistaken. I acquired this house to preserve part of my grandmother's legacy because I realized that worth was not always obvious, and riches were not always spectacular. Jackson attempted to take it because he believed no one would notice. He'd also been mistaken about that. My phone vibrated. Sophie sent an SMS. The divorce is final. Kids are doing okay. Starting therapy next week. Thank you for everything. I typed back. You're going to be fine. She replied. I know because I have you. I put away my phone and gazed out at the ocean. The house stood solidly behind me. Grandmother's residence. Now my house. Jackson intended to flip it for a quick profit, to demonstrate his intelligence. Instead, he had shown his true self to everyone, and I'd accomplished it by just expressing the truth. There was no drama or spectacle, only paperwork and patience, and he let his own falsehoods ruin him. The sun slipped below the horizon. I shut the door and drove home, knowing that often, the smallest triumphs are the most meaningful. What would you have done in my place? Have you ever had to choose between family peace and standing up for what's right? Let me know in the comments below. I really want to hear your thoughts.